What is Roanoke hiding? How could an entire settlement disappear without a trace? What is Croatoan? Watch this video to the end and you will have no questions left. The Roanoke Colony, established in 1587 on Roanoke Island in what is now North Carolina, this first English settlement in the New World vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single cryptic clue: the word Croatoan, carved into a wooden post. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss new stories. And also, write a comment what story you would like to hear next. The historical backdrop of the Roanoke colony is deeply intertwined with the ambitious English colonial ventures of the late 16th century. During this period, European powers were locked in a fierce competition to establish and expand their empires across the uncharted territories of the New World. England, somewhat later to the colonization game than Spain and Portugal, was eager to assert its presence on the global stage. The Roanoke colony, initiated by Sir Walter Raleigh under the auspices of Queen Elizabeth I, was a bold attempt to establish England's first permanent settlement in North America. In 1584, Raleigh dispatched an exploratory expedition to the North American coast, which returned with promising reports of the Roanoke Island area in present-day North Carolina. Based on these findings, Raleigh organized a colonizing mission. The first group, arriving in 1585, was primarily composed of military men and scientists, tasked with laying the groundwork for future settlements. However, due to a lack of provisions and poor relations with local Native American tribes, this initial attempt was short-lived, and the colonists returned to England. Undeterred, Raleigh launched a second attempt in 1587. This time, the mission was led by John White, an artist and friend of Raleigh's, and included families, with the intention of establishing a permanent colony. The settlers arrived at Roanoke Island and began to build their new lives, marking a significant moment with the birth of Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. However, the colony's existence was precarious from the start. Isolated and struggling to sustain themselves, the settlers urged John White to return to England for supplies. White's departure in late 1587 was supposed to be a brief separation, but the outbreak of the Anglo-Spanish War and England's naval commitments delayed his return for 3 years. The disappearance of the Roanoke colony remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. When John White, the governor of the colony, returned to Roanoke Island in 1590 after a delayed journey back from England, he found the settlement eerily deserted. 115 settlers disappeared he had left behind with no sign. This included his own family, with his daughter Eleanor Dare and granddaughter Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. The buildings were dismantled and there was no evidence of a struggle or conflict. The only clue left behind was the word Croatoan carved into a wooden post and Kro carved into a tree. The word Croatoan referred to the Croatoan Island, now known as Hatteras Island, and also to the Native American tribe that inhabited the island. John White took this as a sign that the colonists had moved to Croatoan Island, possibly seeking refuge with or assistance from the Croatoan tribe. However, inclement weather and other challenges prevented White from conducting a thorough search of Croatoan Island, and he was forced to return to England without any answers. The disappearance of the Roanoke colony has sparked a wide range of theories and speculations over the years, as historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts have tried to unravel this enduring mystery. While no definitive evidence has conclusively resolved the fate of the lost colony, several compelling theories have emerged, each offering a possible explanation for what might have happened to the settlers. One of the most persistent theories is that the Roanoke settlers integrated with local Native American tribes. This theory is supported by historical accounts and archaeological evidence, suggesting that some settlers might have lived among the Native Americans. Reports from the 17th century describe encounters with Native Americans who had European features or claimed to have European ancestors. Archaeological finds, including European artifacts at sites associated with Native American tribes, further suggest interactions between the settlers and indigenous peoples. Another theory suggests that the settlers moved north to the Chesapeake Bay area, where they tried to establish a new settlement. This theory is partly based on reports from English explorers and settlers in the early 17th century who heard stories of white settlers living among Native American tribes in the region. However, expeditions to find these settlers or their descendants yielded no conclusive evidence. Given the geopolitical tensions of the era, some have speculated that the settlers could have been attacked and either killed or taken prisoner by Spanish forces. The Spanish, who had established a strong presence in Florida and were actively seeking to thwart English colonial efforts, could have viewed the Roanoke settlers as a threat. However, there is little historical or archaeological evidence to support the notion of a Spanish attack on Roanoke. Another possibility is that the settlers, desperate to return to England or seek help, constructed a makeshift vessel and attempted to cross the Atlantic. Such a journey would have been perilous and beyond the settlers' capabilities, likely resulting in their being lost at sea. While this theory explains the absence of bodies or a settlement, it does not account for the Croatoan clue left behind. Analysis of tree ring data from the period has indicated that the settlers of Roanoke may have arrived during the worst drought in 800 years. This environmental catastrophe could have led to crop failure, starvation, and death. The settlers might have dispersed in small groups to find food and water, leading to their eventual disappearance. This theory, while explaining the desperate situation, still leaves open the question of what specific fate befell the settlers. Building on the integration theory, some suggest that the settlers specifically assimilated with the Croatoan tribe, as hinted by the Croatoan message. This tribe, known to have been friendly towards the settlers, might have offered them refuge. Over time, the settlers' cultural identity could have gradually merged with the tribes, erasing distinct traces of the English settlement. Each theory offers a plausible explanation, but also leaves unanswered questions. Ongoing archaeological discoveries and advances in technology, such as DNA analysis, hold promise for uncovering new evidence that could one day solve the mystery of the Lost Colony. The mystery of the Roanoke Colony's disappearance has had a significant cultural impact, influencing American folklore, literature, and popular culture for centuries. The story of the Lost Colony resonates as a foundational American mystery, embodying themes of adventure, exploration, and the unknown. The story of Roanoke was chronicled in early writings by those involved in the colony's establishment, such as John White and Thomas Harriot. These accounts provided a factual basis that later inspired fictional interpretations. Several documentaries have been produced that delve into the history of the Roanoke Colony, presenting the latest archaeological findings and theories about the fate of the settlers. The Roanoke Colony has been referenced in video games, podcasts, and web series, often as a mystery to be solved or as a backdrop for horror and suspense stories. One of the most notable recent cultural references is in the television series American Horror Story, which dedicated its 6th season, subtitled Roanoke, to a fictionalized and horror-inflected interpretation of the colony's disappearance. The disappearance of the Roanoke Colony remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in American history. The mystery of Roanoke serves as a poignant reminder of the risks and uncertainties that our ancestors faced in the pursuit of new beginnings and the lengths to which we go to remember and understand them. While the full story of what happened to those early settlers may never be known, the search for answers continues. The legacy of Roanoke, with its blend of hope, ambition, and mystery, continues to fascinate and inspire, reminding us of the complexities and challenges of colonial American history. Thank you for watching the video. If you have questions, write them in the comments, and also check out our channel. We have some more interesting videos.